Now get out there and make it. But before you do, let me leave you with something most people never hear. Wealth is not built in big dramatic moments. It's built in boring ones. It's built when no one is watching. It's built in the decisions you make when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you tell yourself, I deserve this. That phrase right there, I deserve this, has destroyed more financial futures than bad luck ever could. You deserve peace. You deserve security. You deserve freedom. But you don't deserve to sabotage tomorrow just to feel better today. Every time you buy something you don't need, you're making a trade. You're trading future freedom for temporary comfort. You're trading options for impulses. You're trading independence for approval. And the scary part, most people never realize they're making that trade until it's too late. They wake up at 50. They wake up at 60. And suddenly the math becomes impossible. There's no time left for compounding. No margin for mistakes. No room to recover. So they keep working. They keep stressing. They keep pretending everything is fine. And they call it life. But it doesn't have to be that way. You don't need to win the lottery. You don't need a miracle. You don't need some secret investment strategy that only billionaires know. You need discipline. You need awareness. You need the courage to say no to things everyone else says yes to. Because here's the truth nobody likes to admit. If you live like everyone else, you'll end up exactly where everyone else is. Average income, average stress, average regret. Rich people aren't smarter than you. They're not luckier than you. They're not more deserving than you. They just learned how to delay gratification, while everyone else chased dopamine. They understood that money is obedient. It follows systems. It follows habits. It follows behavior. Money doesn't respond to wishful thinking. It responds to structure. And once you build the structure, money flows naturally. That's why the wealthy obsess over systems, budgets, automations, rules. Rules like, if it doesn't make me money, I question it. If it depreciates, I avoid it. If it creates recurring costs, I think twice. If it doesn't move me closer to freedom, I say no. Most people don't have rules. They have emotions. They buy when they're bored. They spend when they're stressed. They upgrade when they feel insecure. They consume when they feel empty. And then they wonder why their bank account never grows. Let me tell you something uncomfortable. Your spending habits are a reflection of your identity. If you see yourself as someone who is always catching up, you'll spend like it. If you see yourself as someone who is finally successful, you'll try to look the part. If you see yourself as someone who is disciplined and future-focused, your money will follow that identity. So ask yourself, who are you really? Are you the person who needs to look rich? Or the person who's quietly becoming rich? Because those two paths go in opposite directions. One ends with debt, stress, and regret. The other ends with options, peace, and control. That's the real goal, not luxury, not status, not applause. Control. Control over your time. Control over your choices. Control over whether you work because you want to, or because you have to. That's what wealth buys you. And it starts with saying no. No to the car you don't need. No to the house that owns you. No to the lifestyle creep everyone told you was normal. No to the little leaks draining your future one subscription at a time. Every no today becomes a yes later. Yes to freedom. Yes to security. Yes to a life where money works for you instead of against you. So don't just feel motivated by this. Motivation fades. Change something today. Sell something you don't need. Automate an investment. Cook at home tonight. Drive the car you already have with pride. Because pride doesn't come from what you show. It comes from what you're building. And one day, Sooner than you think, you'll look back at this moment and realize this was the turning point. The moment you stopped consuming and started constructing. The moment you stopped pretending and started positioning. The moment you stopped buying stupid things and started buying your future. That's how you win. That's how you get rich. And even after all of that, most people will still hesitate. They'll nod their head. They'll feel inspired for a moment. And then they'll go right back to doing exactly what they were doing before. That's why most people stay broke. Not because they didn't hear the truth, but because they didn't act on it. Information without execution is useless. Motivation without discipline is noise. And clarity without commitment changes nothing. Here's what actually separates the people who escape financial stress from the people who live in it forever. They decide once, and they don't renegotiate with themselves every day. They don't wake up each morning asking, should I be disciplined today? They already decided who they are. They decided they're the kind of person who tracks their money, the kind of person who invests before they spend, the kind of person who doesn't need validation from strangers, the kind of person who thinks long-term, while everyone else thinks tonight. Most people don't realize this, but your bank account is a scoreboard. It doesn't lie. It doesn't care what you meant to do. It only reflects what you actually did. Every swipe of your card is a vote. A vote for the life you're building, or a vote against it. And those votes add up faster than you think. You don't wake up poor one day. You drift there slowly. One impulse at a time. One excuse at a time. One, it's not that much at a time. But the same is true in reverse. You don't wake up wealthy either. You build it quietly. One disciplined choice at a time. One boring investment at a time. One uncomfortable no at a time. That's why the early stages of wealth feel lonely. No applause, no compliments, no visible reward. You're driving an older car while others upgrade. You're staying home while others go out. You're investing while others consume. And for a while, it looks like you're losing. But you're not. You're compounding. And compounding is invisible at first. That's why most people quit before it works. They don't see the progress, so they assume nothing is happening. They don't feel rich, so they go back to spending. They don't get validation, so they chase it with purchases. But wealth doesn't show up loud. It shows up sudden. One day your investments start paying real dividends. One day your savings can handle emergencies without panic. One day your time becomes negotiable. One day your boss's opinion matters less. One day fear loosens its grip. And that's the moment people finally notice. They'll say you got lucky. They'll say you changed. They'll say money made you different. No, discipline made you different. Money just revealed it. Because money doesn't change who you are. It exposes it. If you were reckless before, you'll be reckless with more money. If you were disciplined before, money will amplify that discipline. That's why this phase matters. The phase where you're not rich yet, but you're building the habits of someone who will be. This is where identities are formed. This is where futures are decided. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting until you feel ready. You don't feel ready first. You act first, and confidence follows. Cut the expenses you know are draining you. Redirect that money automatically. Make wealth boring. Make discipline routine. Because once wealth becomes normal, freedom follows naturally. And understand this clearly. You don't need to out-earn everyone. You need to out-discipline them. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be consistent. You don't need perfection. You need direction. Even small changes, done relentlessly, will put you in the top percentage over time. That's why the system is so brutal, but also so fair. It rewards patience. It rewards restraint. It rewards long-term thinking. And it punishes impulsiveness every single time. So decide who you are starting today. Are you the person who keeps reacting to life? Or the person who designs it? Are you the person who spends first and hopes later? Or the person who invests first and relaxes later? Are you going to keep feeding habits that keep you small? Or are you finally going to starve them? Because nobody is coming to save you. No raise will fix reckless spending. No side hustle will outwork bad habits. No motivation video will replace discipline. But if you get this part right, if you master what you don't buy, you'll be shocked by how powerful your money becomes. So stop negotiating with your future. Stop borrowing happiness from tomorrow. Stop confusing consumption with success. Build quietly, live intentionally, and let time do what it always does for disciplined people. It multiplies. That's the game. That's the truth. And now you know. The only question left is whether you'll finally do something with it. And living in it feels nothing like you imagined back when you were chasing it. It's calmer than you thought, simpler than you expected, quieter than everything social media promised. There's no constant adrenaline, no rush to prove anything, no pressure to keep upgrading your life just to feel relevant. Instead, there's steadiness. You wake up without that knot in your chest. You check your account without fear. You make decisions without panic. And that calm, that's not boredom, that's stability. Most people never experience it because they mistake chaos for excitement and anxiety for ambition. They think peace means settling. They think slowing down means falling behind. They think discipline means deprivation. But once you're on the other side, you realize the truth. Peace is power, stability is leverage, discipline is freedom in disguise. You're no longer reacting to every crisis. You're no longer one bill away from disaster. You're no longer dependent on the next paycheck to breathe. And here's what really changes: you stop fearing the future. Aging doesn't scare you as much. Economic headlines don't shake you. Other people's opinions don't control you, because you've built something solid underneath your life. Most people build their lives on sand, image, consumption, debt, validation. One wave hits and everything collapses. You chose something different. You chose foundations. And foundations aren't exciting, but they last. Now understand this clearly. This doesn't mean you never enjoy your money. It means you enjoy it intentionally. You don't spend to escape. You spend to enhance. You don't buy to feel whole. You buy because it aligns. There's a massive difference. Poor spending is emotional. Smart spending is deliberate. One creates regret. The other creates satisfaction. That's why wealthy people can enjoy things without guilt, because the base is covered. The future is funded. The system is working. Enjoyment without anxiety is a completely different experience. And at some point, you'll notice something else. You've become patient. You don't rush opportunities. You don't chase trends. You don't panic when things slow down. Because patience is easy when you're not desperate. Desperation is expensive. It forces bad deals, bad purchases, bad compromises. Freedom removes desperation. That's why this journey was never really about money. Money was just the training ground. What you were actually building was restraint, self-trust, emotional control, skills that spill into every area of life. You become harder to manipulate, harder to pressure, harder to rush. And that makes you dangerous in a world that profits from impulsive people. Now, here's the part nobody likes hearing. If you stop now, if you relax too early, if you tell yourself, "I've done enough," the old habits will come back quietly. They always do. That's why this isn't a phase. It's a lifestyle. You don't finish discipline. You live it. Not rigid, not extreme, just intentional. You still enjoy life. You just don't let life own you. And years from now, when people ask how you stayed so calm, so grounded, so unbothered, you'll know the real answer. It wasn't luck. It wasn't talent. It wasn't a windfall. It was 1,000 small decisions no one saw. 1,000 times you chose long-term over short-term. 1,000 moments you paused instead of reacted. 1,000 no's that built one massive yes, and that's the final truth. Wealth doesn't arrive suddenly, but freedom does when you're ready for it. Ready because you trained for it. Ready because you earned it. Ready because you didn't trade it away for comfort. So keep going. Even when it feels slow, even when it feels boring, even when it feels lonely. Because the life you're building doesn't need applause, it just needs consistency. And one day, without announcing itself, it will be there. Not loud, not flashy, just solid. And you'll know you won. And when you finally understand that you've won, you won't feel the urge to celebrate loudly. You'll feel grounded. Because winning, real winning, doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with relief. Relief that you're no longer guessing. Relief that you're no longer scrambling. Relief that your future isn't fragile anymore. You stop thinking in weeks and start thinking in decades. You stop asking what's trending and start asking what endures. You stop chasing moments and start building momentum. That's when you realize how rare this mindset really is. Most people never slow down enough to think. They react, they scroll, they spend, they cope. But you chose awareness over autopilot, and awareness changes everything. You notice how often the world tries to rush you. Limited time offers, flash sales, urgency everywhere. Because urgency shuts down logic. But you're not in a hurry anymore. You know that anything truly valuable will still be there tomorrow. Opportunities don't disappear for disciplined people. They multiply. You also realize that wealth isn't about excess. It's about alignment. Your money aligns with your values. Your spending aligns with your goals. Your lifestyle aligns with your future. There's no internal conflict anymore. You're not telling yourself one story while living another. You're not saying you want freedom while financing captivity. Your actions finally match your intentions. And that alignment creates a quiet confidence nothing can shake. Not markets, not opinions, not pressure. Because you're not pretending anymore. You're no longer hoping things work out. You've engineered it. You have margins. You have plans. And plans remove fear. Fear thrives in chaos. It dies in structure. That's why structure felt restrictive at first, but now feels liberating. Rules gave you room. Boundaries gave you peace. Discipline gave you choice. And here's something powerful. You begin to inspire people without trying. Not by telling them what to do, but by how you live. They notice you're calmer, more patient, less reactive. They notice you don't complain about money. You don't stress over small things. You don't rush into bad decisions. And some will ask how. Most won't follow, but a few will listen. Because discipline isn't attractive until its results are undeniable. So if you ever feel tempted to quit, to loosen up, to go back to old habits, remember this. You didn't come this far to feel temporary pleasure. You came this far to build permanent peace. You didn't sacrifice to suffer. You sacrificed to own your life. And owning your life is the highest form of wealth there is. So protect it. Protect your habits. Protect your margins. Protect your future self. Because the world will always offer you comfort in exchange for freedom. Don't take the deal. Stay patient. Stay intentional. Stay disciplined. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. And when you reach the end of this road, you won't ask if it paid off. You'll know, because you'll wake up every day with something priceless. Choice. And that's when you'll understand this was never about money at all. You stop asking, how can I get more? And you start asking, how can I need less? Because needing less gives you leverage. Needing less gives you clarity. Needing less gives you power. Most people are trapped not by lack of money, but by excess desire. Too many wants. Too many comparisons. Too many voices telling them who they should be. And every extra want becomes a new chain. You broke those chains one decision at a time. You learned that happiness doesn't come from addition. It comes from subtraction. Subtracting noise, subtracting pressure, subtracting expectations that were never yours to begin with. And in that space, something stronger grew. Self-respect. Because every time you kept a promise to yourself, even a small one, you reinforced trust. You proved you could be counted on. You proved you weren't ruled by impulse. That kind of self-trust changes how you walk into rooms, how you speak, how you say no without explaining. You're no longer desperate to be liked. You're focused on being aligned. And alignment does something money alone never can. It gives you peace with your choices. You don't replay purchases in your head wondering if you messed up. You don't feel guilt when you enjoy something. You don't feel envy when others spend recklessly. You see it clearly now. You see how people confuse spending with living. How they confuse business with purpose. How they confuse appearance with progress. And instead of judging them, you understand them. You were there once too. But you chose differently. You chose to slow down in a world that profits from speed. You chose to think in a world addicted to reacting. You chose to build in a culture obsessed with consuming. That choice compounds far beyond money. Your time opens up. Your mind quiets. Your relationships deepen. You're more present because you're not constantly calculating survival. You listen better. You enjoy moments without mentally checking prices or worrying about consequences. That's real richness. And here's the final layer most people never reach. You stop fearing loss, because when you've built discipline, you know you can rebuild anything. Money can come and go, but your habits stay. Markets rise and fall, but your mindset remains. That's when you're truly free. Not free because nothing bad can happen. Free because you're capable no matter what happens. You trust yourself. You know that if life knocks you down, you won't panic, buy comfort, or panic spend relief. You respond calmly, intentionally, strategically. And that confidence is unbreakable. So when the world feels loud again, because it will, when temptation shows up dressed as reward. Because it will, when comfort whispers that you've done enough. Because it will, remember this, you didn't build this life to impress anyone. You built it to protect your future. You built it to give yourself options. You built it so you never have to live in fear again. And that makes every sacrifice worth it. Every uncomfortable no. Every boring decision. Every moment you chose discipline over impulse. Because, in the end, the people who truly win aren't the ones with the most stuff. They're the ones with the most control. And control is the one thing money can't buy, unless you earn it first. So keep going. Quietly, intentionally, relentlessly. Because the life you're building doesn't just look better on paper. It feels better in your bones. And once you reach that place, there's no going back. Only forward.